Welcome back, everybody, to the virtual classroom. We're going to do our synopsis, which you had assigned that is due today on Monday. Hopefully you'll check it out to make sure all your answers are correct. So here's how this works. We're doing the first person singular of porto, portare, portavi, portatus. Now, first person singular, it's probably not going to be on the test on Wednesday, but if it is, it's always a helpful one because there are two forms already here that are in the first person singular. So you will have two of the answers, at least in the forms part, already up there because this is the first person present, a singular indicative active, and this is the first person perfect indicative active, a singular. So we are doing the first person singular today. Remember, what we always do is we're always going to translate our principal parts. So porto is the simple I carry. Portare is the present active infinitive, which is translated as to carry. Portavi is I have carried, or if you wrote I carried, that will do as well. And portatus is that participle. There is no person involved. It's having been carried. All right. Now let's get to work and work on these different forms. We're going to start with the present system. You remember we used the second principal part to find our stem. We dropped the RE and we're left with porta. Now remember, the macron can sometimes be there and sometimes not. In this particular case, in the present, it is not there, right? In fact, it's this form, porto. As I told you in class, the A probably was there at one point, portao, but it's a difficult pronunciation. So it probably got dropped out after much usage, and now it is simply porto, which is that first principal part. And the second one, the imperfect, does in fact use the A with the macron as our stem. So you have porta. Then we're going to add the tense sign ba. Now, do we have a macron here? No, because we have mutant. M is the MST, musti sunt. We're using the first person singular. So that would be mutant in our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle memory jogger, right? And then finally we have porta be. But again, here where the I gets dropped. All right, the I gets dropped in this particular form and we're left with porta bo. Remember, bo, bis, bit, bimus, bitis, bunt. Right? And that one. So we have portabo, which is the future. And there is our stem, our macron on the A. So those are our present system forms. We'll now look at the aspects. So we have the simple I carry. We have the continuous I am carrying. We have the emphatic I do carry, which is another form of the simple. And then we have that's I always carry, the habitual. I always carry. And remember, any of these can be used in your translations when you do sentences as long as they make sense. All right? We go to portabam. And portabam has several. The most preferred one is I was carrying. I was carrying. All right? Then we had I used to carry. I used to carry. All right, again, habitual, right? I used to carry in the past. I used to do that all the time, right? I kept on carrying. I kept on carrying. Again, you might want to look at that as habitual or, in fact, continuous. Either one, I think, will be fine. And then I carried, which is the simple form, but understood as continuous. Always remember that one. That one is not preferred. I was carrying is preferred. Now we have two aspects for the future. Portabo is I will carry, the simple aspect, little snapshot. And I will be carrying. And that is the continuous. The continuous form. I will be carrying. Now, that is it for the present system. Those are your translations. On the test, those will be worth, each form will be worth 2 points apiece, and each group of translations will only be worth 1 point. I don't want to flood the translations with the point in case some of you forget them. So for each example, each of these will only be worth a quarter point. These are half a point. This will only be worth like thirds, so it's not going to hurt you too much on the grading. But do try to get your translations right. Obviously, the forms are the most important. Please remember to use the macrons that you see in the principal parts. Which brings us to the perfect stem. All right, the perfect stem here is found in the third principal part by dropping the I. So we're left in all three tenses, portau. And notice the macron there. Please include that. It will be part of the test. I could use a second conjugation verb as well, guys. And I mentioned that in the assignment. And then portau. All right? So now we have this stem. So now we have to find the personal endings, or maybe perhaps the tense signs. So what do we have here for the personal endings, right? Well, here we have our own set of personal endings for the perfect. I isti it, imus istis erunt. We're using the first person singular, so we have portavi. Like I said, one of your answers is already up there if the first person singular is being used. Now, for this one, we have a different stem, a different tense sign, that is era. So the stem stays the same, and now we have era. And for this one, we add the personal endings of mst, musti, sunt, so that would be eram. And because that's a mutant, we do not put a macron on the A. No macron on the A. And then that brings us to the future perfect, which normally your stem would be era, but with the I, but in this case, we see it is ero. It's just like the future of to be. Ero, eris, erit, erimus, eritis, erunt. All right? Except in the future perfect here, it would be erint. And we talked about that in class. If we're doing the third person plural, that would be erint and not erunt, because erunt is already used here in the perfect when it's third person plural. All right? So what do we have so we have portavi, portaveram, and portavero. What do we have for aspects? We have the simple. I carried. All right? We have the simple emphatic. I did carry. All right? And then finally the preferred translation. I have carried. I have carried. A lot of times on Synopsis, I'll see these two messed up, the perfect and the pluperfect. This is have, has. Have, has in the perfect, and had in the pluperfect. There's only one aspect for the pluperfect. I had carried. I had carried. All right, and then finally for the future perfect, I will have carried. I will have carried. Be careful not to make it passive. I saw that in some of your aspects. Some people have written, I will have been carried. That is passive. So you just want to say, I will have carried. All right? So that would be our perfect system. And now finally, to end it all, we have our subjunctive forms. So remember, for the present subjunctive, we find our stem by dropping the RE, but we have a stem vowel mutation. We have a stem vowel mutation here. So instead of an A, we have the mutation to the E. Porte. Okay? Porte. And then we're going to add the M to that. Because that's a Mutant Ninja Turtle, there's no macron on the E. Portem is our present subjunctive, first person singular. Then for the imperfect, we have, what's our stem for the imperfect subjunctive? Our stem is the second principal part, and that is portare. And then what do we add to that? We add the M again, portarem, and there's no macron again, mutant. There's no macron, portarem. For the perfect, we remember that the future perfect and the pluperfect have the same form, except in this first person singular. In the first person singular, and this is where you got to pay attention, because this is the one part where you could lose a couple of points if you're not paying attention, because the perfect here is porta. We use the stem because it's the perfect. We use the third principal part stem, porta, and then we keep the eri, and then we add the M. It's not ero in the perfect subjunctive, it's portaverem, and the macron would be there. And then last but not least, we have pluperfect, which is porta with the, again, the third principal part stem, portao. And then we have ise for the tense sign, and then M for the personal ending. So voila, Porta visem, with the maker on there. Hope you can see it next to the T. Porta visem. There are no translations for the subjunctive. So your test on the synopsis, which is going to include either a first or second conjugation verb and a form of soon. All right? But in this case, for the weekend, I only gave you one synopsis to do. So I hope that helps you prepare for the test. Please look at all the other synopsis videos that are in my Latin class online, and you will be helped by that. Thank you so much for listening. I hope your synopsis went well.